Okay. Good morning, kids. Can anybody remind us before we get started what series we are going through today in church? Bible Heroes, right? It's like right there. Now, we had already two people preach about it. Do you guys know about what hero they talked about? Joseph, correct. And I'm going to continue on Joseph, on talking about Joseph. Do you guys, since we already had two people preach about Joseph, do you guys we should know something about him? Can you guys just start yelling out what we know about him? Who he was, just some characteristics about him. I'll get you guys started off. We know he's he's the 11th born son of Jacob. He's one of the youngest sons. What else do we know about him? He's one of the youngest sons. What else? His brothers loved him very much, right? No, his brothers didn't like him. He was sold to Egypt. We know that about Joseph, right? And he went to prison. He was his father's favorite son, is one of the other things. He was sold to Egypt. He went to prison. He became the second ruler of Egypt too. Go ahead. Yes, that's correct. And then because of that, he saved a whole nation from starvation. So today I would like to focus a little on obedience is what's going to be my topic. And I would like to focus on that second point. He was his father's favorite son. So do you guys know why Joseph was the father's favorite son? How do we know? Did he get a present or something? How was he so special? Why was he so favorite son? Correct. Because his father gave him a robe. That's how we know he was so special. But Joseph has received something special from his dad that his brothers didn't. He gave him a robe of many colors, or clothes of many colors. Do you guys know why Jacob did that? What makes Joseph so special? Why didn't he give a robe to everybody, to all his sons? He had 12 sons. Why didn't he give one to everybody? Like, what made Joseph so special? Was Joseph the smartest kid? That's why? He was the youngest, that's true. He was he the strongest? What makes him so better? Was he the smartest? He loved Jesus, correct. That was also one of them. Yeah, what makes Joseph so special is, let's open up our Bibles and read Genesis verse 37:3. That's where we find out our answer. Now, Israel, that's Jacob. He loved Joseph more than all his brothers, all his children, because he was the son of his old age. That's basically the answer. Because he was the son of his old age, and he made a coat of many colors. So what does that mean? Who's here the youngest? The youngest in your family? Can I get a raise of hands? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6. So you guys are the sons and daughters of your parents of old age. That's basically what you are. So I'm not saying you guys are more loved, but who knows? So Joseph was born at the age of 91. Joseph was born when Jacob was 91 years old, so he was already pretty old. So the reason why Jacob loved Joseph more was because he always was by his side. Usually the younger kids, people that you guys that raised your hand, you're going to be with your parents a lot. While the older, your brothers and sisters, they're going to grow up, they're going to get married, they're going to move out, and you're still going to be with your parents. Your parents are going to be relying on you to help them out. Like, I don't know, your parents might tell you, clean, I don't know, wash dishes, clean the living room, and they're going to be telling you what to do. You guys are going to be helping out around the house like the older kids used to, but the older kids now left. Same thing with Joseph and the older brothers. They went to work. They were shepherds. They went tended to the herd and went work on the field, while Joseph stayed at home and helped his dad around. I believe that's also one of the reasons why he loved him more. And also that he was always honest. Are you guys honest? Are you guys listening to your parents? Yeah? Raise your hands if you guys listen to your parents. More than half of you, so that's good. That's good. See, I always listen to my parents, but I don't always obey them. See, I always hear what they say, but I don't always do what they do, just like sometimes like brothers of Joseph. So I need to work on that too. So let's see, let's keep moving. So on the other hand, Joseph's brothers, they didn't listen. Usually there we go. So when Joseph, he was he was safe, home and safe sound, he obeyed his dad. When he was at home, he always listened to his dad. He would tell him what to do. Same with Joseph's brothers. They also listened. Like, you guys have siblings, we all listen to our parents. But when we are alone, for instance, the brothers of Joseph's, they went to work. And sometimes they didn't do the things that they were supposed to do. Like, for us, instance, we could go to also work or school. We're in school. Parents are not supervising us there. Sometimes we could do also not listen to our parents. Our parents are teaching us, like, we all in church, we all know the rules, how to behave, what to do. We all know the law. We also all know God, and we know we need to obey him. Just like everybody else did, but Joseph was the only one that followed the rules. The brothers, they didn't follow the rules. And the thing about why Jacob also liked Joseph is that Joseph, he always would tell his dad, hey, like, do you have older older brothers and sisters that would tell on you? Like, hey, he did it. Like, if something broke, they would, or younger, usually the older ones would say it was the younger one. They would tell on you. So that's what Joseph did to older brothers when they were misbehaving. Is that, hey, they're not doing the right, they're misbehaving or they're not listening to you, dad, so that they would get in trouble. And that really made the brothers mad. And that's one of the reasons why they sold him to Egypt as a slave. See, and Joseph, he was only 17 years old. He was basically almost an adult. He was still like a teenager when he was sold to as a slave to Egypt. And after he was sold there, he's still. It's not like he was already not home. He was already cut off from his family. Imagine somebody taking you somewhere, and let's say you don't know if you'll see your parents again or anything, but he still listened to what parents taught him. He still listened to God. He still listened to the laws that formed him. He was like from 1 year old to 17, his parents taught him, and he was already formed, unlike his brothers. So when he went there to Egypt, he always would obey his parents. So when Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and sold to Egypt, he was still strong in faith and obeyed God. When Joseph was falsely accused in Egypt as well, he still did everything right, and he became, you guys know the story, he became one of the top commanders of Potiphar's household. And God, because he was doing good, God has blessed him. He blessed him that anything that he did, he succeeded. Imagine you guys listening to your parents all the time, and then when you go home, the parents tell you, can you please sweep up the floor or mop the floor or clean something, and you do it so perfectly that your parents give you always compliments. Like, oh, you did it with my hands or something. They give you nobody could have done it better. Like, they keep complimenting you, and they know that they could trust you to do more things. Then they could put you on, give more trust to you and give you more, harder things to do. Like, they know you could handle it. So that's what basically happened to Joseph. He did that, and he rose to the top at the Potiphar's home. But then he gets accused of something that he didn't do, and he gets thrown to prison. It's like where's the logic in that, right? He's still doing everything that he was supposed to do, and he gets punished again. So, but even when he gets punished, Joseph still, when he was in jail, he still rises in jail. Because the warden of the jail, he sees that he's a godly man, that God is with him and he's blessing him. So because God was still with him and that he obeyed all the laws, he was still with him. So Joseph was obedient to God in good times and bad times. No matter if you're like maybe struggling, where you don't want to do, your parents tell you to do something and you don't want to do it, but you still do it. I mean, sometimes it's hard, but Joseph still done it because he had principles to do like that. So God, he always rewards his obedient kids. And I have an example here. So do you guys know what this is? Play-Doh, right? It says so right here. So let's take, for example, this is Joseph. So, in a way, see, I could form it as how I want. That's how he was formed. Let's say I want to make a circle. It's okay. Let's see. It's almost like a circle. Well, See, this it could stand like this. I put it right here, out, and it's staying like that. That's it. That's how it is. Now here are like Joseph's brothers. They're like the kinetic sand. Can I make a circle out of this? Look at this. It's not staying still. Because the people that don't have principles and they do not obey God, they can't do nothing when God's not with them. So I'm going to try to make a circle right now. See, and it won't let me. It's like just a pile of like kinetic sand. It just won't do it. So I can't do nothing with kinetic sand. While a circle, he's always staying strong. He's always as a circle, just like Joseph was. From his childhood, his dad has taught him to always be a godly man, to always follow God. And if we do that, God will reward us. Not just spiritually, but also mentally, physically, and with everything. So God has rewarded Joseph by making him the second in command of the Pharaoh. So back then, Egypt was one of the best countries there was. It was the highest in civilization, and it was one of the most powerful countries. It was the most civilized countries that there was, and he was the second in power. He could have done anything. God has rewarded him for that. And because he kept listening to God, he was able to save his brothers. As we read Deuteronomy 28:1, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow his all commandments I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high and above all nations on earth. Just like God did to Joseph, because he set him up on top of all nations. He was basically one of the prime minister of Egypt, basically one of the highest, strongest countries back then. And that's what he did. And doing so, he was able to save his brothers and his dad, his mom from starvation. So for our good deeds, we get rewarded. So now, as we pray, let's remember to always be obedient to God and our parents. Amen.